Good morning, Alberton family. It's an honor to be here this morning to be able to share a little bit of some things that have been going through my mind here recently. There's a couple of people I want to mention first and foremost, though, that have been on my mind. Tyler and Julie, I'm very proud of y'all. I really hope that your marriage will be a success, and I can't express how excited I am for both of you. And the other one is Melanie Klingenpeel. I'm so honored to know her as a friend and as a spiritual example to me and for everybody around us, and what she's doing. I'm very proud of her, and I want you to know that I'm thinking about you every day, and we love you, and God bless you. What I wanted to talk about today is something that I was walking the dog the other night, and I was listening to Andy Stanley on a podcast, and he was talking about how to win at life, and I thought, that's interesting. Winning is something that we all want to do because we don't want to do the alternative. I think it's in us to not want to lose at anything at certain points and times in our life. But me being the competitive person I am, and my competitiveness has been somewhat dwindled down as I've gotten older, and especially since the kids have come along. I've tried to cut back on my willingness and wantingness to absolutely win at everything, because I know there's an alternative to it. But as you all know, I'm a huge Alabama fan. I love the Chicago Cubs. I mean, I've got all kinds of different sporting events that I'm so involved with, and those kind of things, and I umpire ball, and umpiring ball has allowed me to take some of the edge off of the competitiveness in me, because I now see both sides. There's a winner and a loser at the game every day I go to. But as I've gotten older and listening to this podcast the other night, it kind of hit me that what's my win in life? What's my win spiritually, financially, relationally, academically for our high school kids and college kids, and at work? What's your win there at work as well? And there's a couple of verses, 3 verses I want to go over. We'll talk about that. And the first one is how Paul talked about running a race, and he says in 1 Corinthians 9:24, "Don't you realize that in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So run to win. All athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. So I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I might myself be disqualified." There's a lot in these couple of verses here, and I think what strikes me the most is that if we don't do the necessary training and preparing to go throughout life and show our example and talk to people about God, that there's the fear of disqualification. And I don't want to go out of the world knowing that I didn't do my part in helping to bring someone or somebody or a group of people to know God. All athletes are disciplined in their training. We need to be disciplined. We need to be in our Bible. We need to be focused on showing how we can prove to others that God did send His Son, that Jesus did die on the cross, and those things that we take for granted sometimes. When you're preparing, you need to have purpose in every step, and there's no shortcuts in this. There's no, well, I'll wait for it tomorrow. No procrastination, which I'm the king of. You can just ask my wife. But we have to do these things in order to be prepared, because we're not guaranteed a tomorrow. And I like this next statement. Paul says that he runs with purpose and he's not shadow boxing. That means he's not just beating the air, not just saying he's going to do something and maybe do it later or putting it off for somebody else to do. He disciplines his body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. So we need to train each day with this book that we can learn and go out and teach others and talk to others about God. You win by preparing to win. So you have to prepare. That's the biggest thing, the takeaway from it. It's the key to success in any competition, preparing for it. You have to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Regardless of what Allen Iverson said back in the 90s, practice is very important. And the other verse I wanted to talk about was 2 Timothy 4:7. So if you'll turn there, 2 Timothy 4:7. Actually, I'll start in verse 6. As for me, my life has already been poured out as an offering to God. The time of my death is near. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, and I have remained faithful. And now the prize awaits me, the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me on the day of his return. And the prize is not just for me, but for all who eagerly look forward to his appearing. How eager are we to look for God to reappear? I hope that's something that we pray for every day, to come soon. I lost my spot. The last verse I want to look at is actually in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. So if you turn over there with me to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. One more example of winning. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 says, Therefore, since we are surrounded by a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. There's just a few thoughts that went through my head after hearing this podcast this week about winning, and I want to be able to help anybody that needs help to come to God, that we can win together. I realize that our race, we run an individual race, but in the end, we will be judged by God, and I want to be known as somebody who helped others to get across the finish line with me. If we can do anything for you, just let us know. If I can do anything for anybody, let me know. I'm in the soap mines a few days a week, but most other days of the week I'm just sitting at home. If y'all need me for anything, let me know. God bless you, and hope to see you guys soon.